Hello friends, welcome to my channel Power of AEM. In this video, we will talk about translation, how we can do the translation in AEM, different type of configuration that we need to take care. In the previous video, we have discussed about MSM, how we can utilize the MSM different size structure that we can follow while creating the MSM, and how you can utilize the live copy and language copy. So if you have not checked out all, kindly see all the previous videos. Let's talk about the translation. Translation, there are two types of translation in AEM. One is the human translation, another one is the machine translation, and that is the side-by-side comparison. So you can take a decision in which scenario you want to go with either human translation or machine translation, or might be there could be different cases to utilize both of the translation in a similar project. So who can translate the content? Human translation, as the name suggesting, some human or a team is sitting to translate the content manually. However, machine translation are based on the API. So that is the reason it is fast comparing to the human translation. Human translation is costly as some person is sitting to translate the content, and API based is cheap as it depends on how many number of requests you are generating. So it is a pay based on your request. Some use cases that we need to consider when your content is primary key and you do not want to compromise with the quality. Also, you are having a very good team to manage the content after getting a translated content. So you can review it, edit it, send it back, approve it, or can do multiple operations. Human translation is for you. However, on the machine translation, if you are not having a big team or the content is not that much as primary concern for us, in that case, machine translation will be helpful. Need governance is one of the key point. If you are having a very small team, go with the machine translation. Otherwise, human translation is good for you. Time to deliver, if you are approaching to the market in a very fast way, then machine translation is good, and you can manage a very big website which is having lots of content, lots of different languages. In that case, machine translation is always suggestible. However, human translation will be more costly, time consuming for you in order to deliver an approach to the market. This is the overall flow. The above screen or above hierarchy you have already seen when we were talking about the site structure. You could have different language copies, as you can see, um, like French, German, Spanish, and Japanese. So the translation will work in that way. As you can see, translation workflow is there. So translation will work on these languages, and these languages, once having the translated content, those will be reflecting to the live copies. So how that in actual works? So if you look at the overall flow, you need to have first a translation provider. Translation provider, there are multiple vendors available which are supporting AEM product for translating the content. You can select any of them. After that, once you are having the translation provider package, you need to install it on your AEM environment. And once that is available, you need to set up a configuration, translation related configuration. We will see soon how you can do that. You also need to apply that on the language master. Why on language master? As all the languages are under the language master only, as you can see here where I do have a cursor. So once you are identifying which content you need to translate, you need to start the translation process. You either can create a translation project for that, or you can a workflow associated with that translation project will start working, and it could be either a human translation or machine translation. Based on that, it will translate the content. So this is the overall flow to translating the content. Now let's talk about translation framework integration, as that is a second step in this overall flow. So how you can do that? There is a configuration available in AEM. So you need to select the right information in the configuration window, and based on that you can set up your translator connector. How you can do that, that we will also see. Let's go to the AEM screen. So this is the home screen of your AEM. What you need to do, you need to click on the tools, cloud services, translation cloud services. This card you need to select. Under the conf, you can see under the global, I do not have any translation related or any translated related configuration I cannot see. However, under the libs, I can see these configuration, translation, integration, configuration. Already out of the box, Microsoft Translator is coming, which is just for trial purpose. However, it is not giving us or not recommending to use on the production environment. This is just for testing purpose. And this is a machine translation connector for us. So this is the translation configuration, and the name is suggesting default translation. So if you edit this, this is under libs as of now, and you can see we need to provide different configuration for sites and assets. Communities is not really applicable. So sites and asset we are talking about. Currently, Microsoft Machine Translation Connector is available, so it is configured out of the box. But in case you are having different translator connector, it will be visible for you once you are installing its plugin on your AEM environment. That would be in form of content package. So for example, if I want to go with human translation, I need to select the method as human translation. Again, the provider will be appearing in this drop down, whatever that option would be. After that, I need to select the option like I would like to go with site translation or asset translation. So this is the site tab. So I'm selecting site translation workflow. It will translate the component string tags. And if you want to, select the other option like auto execute translation, that also you can go with, or you can start the translation based on the manual activity. I currently I'm going with manual activity. Now let's go to or let's save this. Let's see how different changes you can observe once you are selecting human translation. The configuration that we did changes that was under the list, but let's check out the conf hierarchy now. Under the conf hierarchy, I can see the translation configuration. Why? Because I created a new one. Earlier it was machine translation. Now it is human translation. So always make sure your translation configuration are coming from the conf hierarchy. So that is the hierarchy. Under the asset, I still have machine translation. Let it be. But if you want to do changes, you can do the changes. This conf hierarchy should be always part of your code base. So make sure your code base is containing this configuration changes. So always during the deployment, these changes could be moved to all the environments, and through filters, you can skip that if those are not changing all the time. So this is how you can create the configuration and either select the human translation or machine translation based on your configuration needs or business need. Let's also talk about the translation framework rules, because sometimes what happens, we are working on translation properties and we can observe some properties are translated, however some are not. So how you can make sure all the properties are translating correctly. So in order to do that, you need to go in the translation configuration. The out of the box translation configuration always available under the libs settings translation. So under the libs hierarchy, it will be available. As you can see on my screen, this is the path. Once you are doing the changes, it will be again part of your conf. So make sure whenever you are doing any changes in the rules, those should be come from the conf. And again, that should be part of your code base. So let's go back to the AEM screen and see how you can see this rule editor. So I'm going to the tools and let's check translation configuration. This is under the journal. Select this card. I'm talking about content. So content means all the sites, and content dam means all the asset. So asset related configuration, I haven't done any changes, but on the sites I've done the changes. So I'm editing the content. So it means I want to make sure how many different sites related configuration or the properties I want to translate. These are the properties. As you can see, this is a property tab, and it is talking about in general how many different properties I do have, which I would like to translate. And inherit means even though it is placing under any of the depth of your content hierarchy, it should work, or it should always inherit the changes that we are doing against this rule. If you want to do any changes, there is a edit button that you can select, and you can do the changes and done. But if you want to create, for example, you want to do any changes on the label, you can easily do. However, if you want to create your new one, there is a property, uh, a new property. You can just create, type your name of the property, which is custom for you. For example, I do have a custom property, and that is uh, personal meta, and I want to make sure this should be translated and inherited. I can either deselect option, and once I click on the add button, it will appear in the list. So this is how you can add your new property. Similarly, you can create a new component for you. For example, button is one of the component. As you can see, it is part of some other component hierarchy. So you can select which component property you want to translate. For that, you need to click on the add component button. You need to place the path of your component. Once you are placing the path of the component, it will be available here. And after that, you can just create multiple properties which are associated with your component. So that is how you can do. Now talk about the filter. Filter is something which we are utilizing in order to skip some properties during the translation. So you need to select, as you can see, like filter out property. If any property is name is the CQ annotation. So this is how you can filter out. In the reference, you can see all the filter sections, like which one we are ignoring, which one we are creating as a line, while creating the language copy, which one we want to translate. So that is coming under the reference section. So this is how you can do the changes on your rule editor. Once you are done with this, those will be available under the config hierarchy. So make sure you are make creating that config hierarchy path under your code base. I hope this justification and the explanation of translation will be helping us you to configuring the rules and the configuring of translation as an overall product in AEM. If still you have any open question, feel free to drop in the comment box. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.